Hey Bulldog fans, Robbie Falk here from Maroon and White Daily on 3, and appreciate you for checking out another installment of Talkin Dawgs, kind of recapping the weekend here for Mississippi State here at Duty Noble Field. Bulldogs able to get their first SEC Series win of the season as they knock off the South Carolina Gamecocks 2 out of 3. Rebounded well from the first loss of the weekend as they were able to come away with 2 wins Saturday and Sunday, a 11-4 victory on Saturday, a 6-0 win on Sunday. And this comes after the Bulldogs had a very frustrating loss on Friday. It followed the script that has really plagued them in SEC games this season, as the Bulldogs really didn't defend very well on Friday night and did not hit very well. They had 8 consecutive innings without a run scored against a South Carolina team that has not surrendered or that has surrendered 5 or more runs in every single SEC game this season. They had 3 runs in the first inning, did not score again the rest of the game. And I thought great job the next 2 days getting clutch hits, getting big innings, and pitching and defending fairly well. They did not defend well at times on Saturday, but for the most part was a pretty well defended ball game as they were able to win that ball game 11-4. And I thought offensively very good. They had 5 home runs in that game, tied for the most home runs in the game this season. And then on Sunday, they got an incredible performance from Carson Ligon, easily his best performance as a Bulldog pitcher, as he came out in the game and gave up a hit on the first pitch of the ball game against Nathan Hall. Comes back and did not give up a single hit the rest of the game. He walked a batter, he hit a batter, but did not have more than 1 guy on base in the next 5 innings. Or actually the next 6 innings, all 6 innings, he only had 1 guy on base in a particular inning and did not give up another hit, didn't give up a run. It was easily his best performance as a Bulldog. 1 walk, 1 hit, no runs, 8 strikeouts. Carson Ligon was fantastic. This is a week after he lasted 2 outs against LSU. Did not get out of the first inning. He gave up 7 hits, 8 runs. 7 of those runs were earned. Was just not very good, and I thought rebounded extremely well this week. Came out, was very confident, and pitched very well. This is not a good South Carolina offense, but he pitched with confidence and pitched like a guy that wanted to correct his mistakes from the week prior, and good for him for coming out and doing it. Stone Simmons was fantastic as well in relief. 3 innings. He faced the minimum. The only guy to reach was the final batter that he faced. He gave up a hit, and State was able to eliminate that base runner as he was trying to get to second base. So just an extremely well-pitched ball game. No errors from the defense, so that was really good for Mississippi State to come in and play really strong defense in the game. And then you had 1 really big inning. You had 6 hits and 5 runs in the 4th inning for State. Got started with Noah Sullivan hitting a solo shot, and then just everything was hit hard that inning off a starter, Blake Stone. I thought the relief pitcher that came in, Matthew Becker, who has started some ball games, was very good against Mississippi State. The lefty really did a good job against left-handed hitters against Mississippi State today. 3 hits and just 1 run in 4 2/3, but the damage was already done, and State was pitching so well that didn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But just a really good weekend series for Mississippi State, and one they had to have. This is not a good South Carolina team, but Mississippi State hasn't been good either, and they needed to show that they could win ball games and show some confidence, and they did. What happens from here, who knows? Mississippi State really needs to come out and play great baseball the rest of the way. The schedule sets up fairly well. The teams that they play that have been really good in conference play so far or on the season as a whole are basically Alabama and Ole Miss when you look at the rest of the schedule. And both of those teams, I feel like, are winnable series for Mississippi State. Alabama 7-5 in SEC play. They just lost a series to Auburn. They lost a series 2 weeks ago, obviously, to Tennessee as well. It's a significantly better team than we've seen at Alabama in many years, but I still think that's a series that Mississippi State can match up and win. That doesn't mean that it's an expectation at this point. I don't look at that series and say Mississippi State's going to go sweep it, or Mississippi State's going to go on the road to an Alabama team that's played extremely well at home, and they're going to win that series. They're going to have to play well to do it, but it's a winnable series. Ole Miss is a winnable series. Whether or not State goes out there and does it over the next few weeks remains to be seen. Florida's been very bad in SEC play. State needs to take that series next week. This is a pivotal second half of the season for Mississippi State. They dug themselves in a hole. They shouldn't have been swept in 2 series against Texas and LSU. There were winnable games in those series. They should have taken the series against Oklahoma. They didn't do that. The first 3 weekends, Mississippi State did not do their job. Probably should have swept this series, and they didn't do their job. But all they can handle now is what's ahead of them, and there are winnable series and there are winnable games ahead of them. You're basically looking at Mississippi State needing to go 10-8 the rest of the way. When you look at the rest of the schedule, you got, I think, 18 games left. State essentially needs to win 10 games. And that's doable. That's very doable, but that's where they are right now. To get into postseason, that's pretty much what they have to do. And I know there's a lot of grumbling in the fan base. There's even some people that wanted Mississippi State to lose this series so that, Zach Selman or the MSU administration would have their hands tied and would have to make a move with Chris Lemonis. But I don't know if that's going to be the case right now. At this stage, that might be something that is assessed after the season. I don't know where Zach Selman sits, but from Chris Lemonis' point of view and from Mississippi State's point of view, they just need to win, and that's what they can control. The rest of the way, the outside noise, the noise they're hearing here within the fan base is something that they've created on their own. They could have taken care of business. They did not. They now have to go out and prove it on the field, and we'll see if they're able to do that. They have a road trip to UAB on Tuesday. This has been a team that's been pretty good in midweek games so far. They lost 2 in a row to Southern Miss and Troy, who are good ball clubs, top 20 ball clubs. Still should have won those games, but they haven't lost to a bad team yet in the midweek, or a team that I would consider mediocre. They need to go to Birmingham this week, and they need to beat UAB. They need to go to Tuscaloosa, and they need to win that series. And you take it week by week, game by game, and see what happens. And at the end of the schedule, if Mississippi State's in postseason play, I think it's a job well done for the latter part of the season. But it's going to take this team playing really good baseball down the stretch to do that. So State improves to 19-13 on the season. They're 3-9 in SEC play. This is a hole that they're in right now, but this is a step forward. They needed to win this weekend. They did that. Now you move to next week, and you try to get to 5-10 or whatever in SEC play, and you try to get to 22-14 or whatever that is. And then you go into the next week, and you see what happens then. And from there, you start to kind of build back up, and we'll see if State is able to do that. Thank you guys for checking out all our coverage this week. We had some good coverage of baseball. We got recruiting coverage coming out. We will have transfer portal news probably this week for Mississippi State in basketball and in women's basketball as well. So make sure you're over there on Maroon and White Daily. If you sign up right now, you get $1 for the first week, and then you can become a member with us over there at Maroon and White Daily. A great community of fans. We love our members over there. They are incredibly knowledgeable. They're locked in on the transfer portal. They're locked in on Mississippi State basketball, baseball, football, and we love those folks. So come join that crew and be a part of something special over at Maroon and White Daily. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. We would love to have you do that. And we'll have Thunder and Lightning podcast coming up shortly between myself and Brian Haydad to recap the weekend and to get you ready for next week. Thank you guys for checking in. I hope you have a great week, and we'll catch you down the road.